Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHMAD Ahmed. Today we're going to be redoing an old paper 3 from the Information and Communication Technology IGCSE course. So the reason I'm redoing an old paper is because I want to complete the website section using Microsoft Expression Web 4. So since I'm using this software, I'm redoing some of the older videos. So this is the May-June 2014 paper. So let's scroll down to the website section. So here we go. You work for a company called Hot House Design. You'll create a style sheet and then edit a web page which promotes the Manta conservation project. The style sheet and markup must work in all browsers. All styles must be applied throughout and attach cascading style sheet and not as inline styles. So what this means is we have to create a new style sheet using the attributes shown below. We have to then attach it to the web page. All color codes are in hexadecimal. Okay, so question 3. Create a single style sheet called tmcp.css using the following styles. So the styles are shown below in the table. So to create a style sheet, you first need to go to File, New, and select CSS. And before we do anything, let's save this file into the root folder. So if we go to File, Save As, we basically need to save our file into the folder which contains the rest of the files for this particular task. So it's going to be this folder here. Okay, so you've got other pages and pictures which will be used as part of this task. So let's write in the name of the CSS file. If we press save, you can see the file has been created and the type is CSS. Right, to create the tags, so what we have for the CSS, we have a number of tags which we have to create. The body, this is for the background. You can either have a background picture or a background color. H1 refers to a text style, so heading 1, heading 3, P is for paragraph, LI is for any lists, okay, and then table, which we looked at in the previous video, will format any table which you'll have in your web page. We also have some extra attributes down here, so the color components, okay, so which we'll come back to later on. So if you're making the CSS, the first thing you need to identify or find is Manage Styles panel. So if you can't see it, you can click on Panels and click on Manage Styles. We're going to be using this to create our CSS styles. So if I click on New Style, the first style which we're creating, if I type in Body, this is for the background. So if we go to Background, what we want to include is this picture here, so j1431.bg.jpg. So we can select the color, but in this example we want to select the picture. So if I click on Browse, if I go to the folder, Summer, and this is a file we need, so j1431.bg. Press Open, and what we want to do is to have this picture tiled. So we have to, if we're going back to here, enable the background repeat. So it's like imagine your desktop picture. You're going to have a picture tiled. So once it's finished, you'll have another picture next to it. So I'll show you in the browser when we go to that point. So that's the first tag complete. So we have a background picture and the background repeat is on, which will make the picture tiled. Okay, so first style done. Okay, the next tag which we have to create is H1. So again, we go to New Style, we delete this and we type in H1. And what we have to do first is select a font. So the first choice will be Arial. Okay, if that's not available, then we'll go to the browser's default, which will be the sans serif font, which will be the default sans serif font. So what you have to do first of all is select Arial. We obviously don't want Helvetica. I can't delete it at this point. Oh yes, I can. So we can delete. So the first thing the browser will do is check for Arial. If Arial is not available, then it will display any other sans serif font. Okay, the alignment will be center. So if you go to Block, Text Align will be center. Notice the American spellings as well. So spell ER. So if you are typing a code, make sure you do include the American spellings. The size will be 32 pixels. So we can type 32 pixels. Make sure you check to see if it's pixels or points. Sometimes it may be points, so just double check. And then if we come to the bottom, let me just highlight the things we've done so far. Okay, so H1 will have no red component, no green component. So for color, if I just select a default black, so we've got no red, we've got no green, and then the blue is represented, the number which we need to enter is 40. This will give us like a really dark shade of blue. Okay, so as you can see, it's going more closer to black now. So you need to make sure you have 2 characters for each color, so red, green, and then blue. And then that's the first style done, so you can have a quick look. So the font family will be Arial. If that's not available, then sans serif. Text will be aligned center, 32 pixels, and the color will be like a really dark shade of blue. Okay, so that's H1 done. Now let's look at creating H3. So again, the same principle, new style, H3. So what we have to do now is select the browser's default serif font. So it's going to, the browser will choose any serif font. So if we go to the second option, we can delete all these fonts in before serif. So the browser will select any font. The alignment will be fully justified and the size will be 16 pixels. So if we go to block, text align, justify, go back to font, the size will be 16. Was it 16? Let me double check. Yep. So let me highlight. Okay, and then the color attributes is for red we'll have 40, green for 40, green will also be 40, and then blue will be 0. Make sure you include 2 zeros. Okay. So if I just select black by default, so we got 40 for red, 40 for green, and then we're not going to have any blue component. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the color looks like as long as you've included the right criteria in a right order. So it's going to be red, green, and blue. Okay, so apply. Okay, so the H3 will, or the browser will go to default serif font, the text will be justified, the size will be 16, and as you can see, we've got 40 for red, 40 for green, and then no blue. So we're happy with that. Okay, so now we have to create the paragraph style, which is represented by P. So again, we click on new style, we type in P. Okay, so the font face will be the browser's default sans serif font. So if I just select the first option, let's delete anything that's before. So the browser will choose the default sans serif font. The alignment will be fully justified, and the size will be 12 pixels. So let's put the size in first. Block, text align, justify. Okay, so let me highlight this. Let's look at the color. So P will be a navy blue, so no red components, no green components, and basically 50% of the blue. So let's just select black. So no red, no green, and then we've got 50%, which gives us navy blue. Apply. Okay, so that's that part done. The next tag which we have to create is LI. This is for the bullet styles. So let's click on apply, create a new style, type in LI. Okay, so let's first do the alignment. So again, the alignment, we go to block, we can select left alignment, and then the numbered list option. So what we need to do is go to list style. What we're going to select is a decimal. Okay, so this will change the list into a numbered format. So if we click on apply, okay, so we're done at LI. So that was the easy part. So we just created some text styles. Now comes a more challenging part. We have to create a table tag, but before I do anything, I'm going to identify the internal part or the internal grid lines of my table. So we need to identify 3 criteria for the internal grid line. So the internal grid line will be 1 pixel. So Just before I move on, let me just create a quick diagram. Actually, let me open this back up again. Comment. So if I just draw like a little table here, so this is the external border. Okay, let me just deselect this. Okay, go open a pen again. So if you want to create internal grid lines, so this is, it's not a great diagram, but you can see, so these represent the internal borders, the internal grid lines. You need to first of all identify in a question 3 criteria for the internal grid lines. So let me just go back to here. The first criteria is the internal grid lines will be 1 pixels wide. Okay. Both the borders, so the internal and external, will be solid. So that's the second thing I've identified. And then the third thing which we need to identify is the internal grid line. So here we've got a color for the internal border. So let me just open up a text box. So TD will be 1 pixels. Actually, let's first do it in order. It will be solid. Okay, it will be 1 pixel wide, and then the color will be hashtag FF. It's going to be full red, full green, and then no blue. Okay. After you've done TD, anything else can go into table. So things like all collapsed. The external border will be done in table. The size and the height of the table will be done in table. The table external border color will be done in table, and the background color will also be done in table as well. But let's first of all create the TD tag. So the TD tag refers to the internal grid lines of this table. So let's go to here. So I always prefer to get the TD done before I do the table. So it's a process of elimination. So if we go to border, all solid, so this will refer to both internal and external, so we need to apply that to both. So solid, the internal grid line will be 1 pixel, and the border color will be so red, full green, and then nothing for blue. So let me just select, if I click down, just black for now. So full red, full green should give us yellow. Okay, so that's TD. Okay, and that's just for the internal grid line. Now some of these properties can be done in TD. So let's say the background color, for example, and it will work, but I just prefer to separate them, to be honest. And you'll see it doesn't really make a difference. The page will change accordingly. Okay, so now we're going to create the table tag. So if we go back to here, and the first thing we'll focus on is now the external border. So it's the border that goes on the outside of the table. So if I go up a little bit, both the internal and the external border grid lines are solid, so we can select solid. The external line is 3 pixels, so the external border will be 3 pixels. So we can, whoops, that's not what I want. I want to highlight a pen. Okay, and then let's refer to the color. So the color will be, again, it will be the same color actually. So full red, full green, and then no blue. So it's basically going to be 4 Fs, which will give us yellow again. The only difference is the border is 3 pixels wide. Right, this background now, this is the background of the table, so obviously it'll be colored in a particular color. So the first criteria is red, it's going to be 6E. So to change the background of your table, if you go to background, let's just select black for now. So as you can see, this is the background of the table. For red, we've got 6E. So you don't really need to know what these stand for, just put them in the right order. For green, 85. Okay, and then for yellow, 9F. Okay, and we've got the color here, so that's what we want to show. Yeah, so the preview, yeah, you can see the color here. So like I said before, you don't really need to know what these codes mean, as long as you can put them in into the right order. I'm also going to highlight this because we did that before for the textiles. Borders will be all collapsed. Okay, so if you go to table, border collapse, and I can show you later in the browser what this means. And then we can set the size of the table. So every table which we have in our web page will take on these properties. So to set the size of the table, if you go to position, so it's going to be 600 by 300 pixels. And if we click on apply, the height was 300, yeah, 600 by 300. Okay, done. Okay, so before we finish the CSS section, let's just double check. So the TD was 1 pixel solid, and the border was color will be yellow. So let me double check. TD, yeah, 1 pixel solid, and the color was here. And then any other properties we put in the table. So you should be checking a TD. It should normally be 1 line. Right, so we come to the end of this part. So create a single style sheet which we've created. Let me just save the changes. So let me save the changes. Okay, so we come to the end of the CSS part now. Okay, so let's look at question 4. So open a web page j1431tmcp.htm in your web editing software and attach the style sheet created in step 3. So obviously we're referring to this style sheet here, this tmcp. So to open up a HTML page, you go to File, Open. Let's just have a look, move it to across, change it to Details. So I think this is a page which we need to open up. Let me just double check. J1431. Let's go down. Yeah, J1431 TMCP. Let's open. Okay, obviously we need to show the design view first. So this is a page in the background here. So we now need to attach the style sheet that we created in step 3. So if we click on attach style, browse, and the style sheet is called TMCP. Open. Okay, and you can see the style sheet has been attached. If I go to the browser, I just wanted to show you something. If I go to the browser, and I'm going to zoom out on a page, and the first thing I want to show you is the picture in the body which has been repeated, so tiled effect. So if I zoom out, you're going to see the tile effect we have in the picture. So the picture has been repeated in the background, okay, like a tile effect. Okay, so that's what that was for. As you can see, the external border and the internal border are both solid in yellow. The only difference between the two borders is the external border is thicker. I think it was 4 pixels wide. Let me double check. Yeah, 3 pixels. Okay, and the internal border was 1 pixel. Just let me double check that. Did I write 4 or did I write 3 for this? Yeah, 3 pixels and 1 pixel. Yeah, that was fine. Right, so we've attached the style sheet. Let's look at the next question then. Okay. Edit the HTML image attributes for j1431array.jpg. So it's 300 pixels wide and 300 pixels high. Do not edit the original picture. So what that basically means, I think we need to refer to this picture here. Let me just move that to one side. If I right click and go to picture properties, yep, so we've got the name of the picture here. And what we want to do, if we go to appearance, it does say edit the HTML code, but it doesn't really matter. We can do it here. It's going to be 300 by 300 pixels high. So what we want to do is change, first of all here, we need to type in 300. Or before we do that, let's specify the size. I don't think we want to maintain the aspect ratio, so let's deselect this option here. Let's type in here 300 and here 300. Press OK, and you'll notice the picture has been resized. If you go to the code, if you select the image and if you go to the code, you'll also see 300 is here and here as well. So you could have also gone to the code and just changed this number here. So it's up to you. You can have a right click, go to picture properties, and you can do it like this as well. Okay, so anything you change in the design view automatically changes in the code view as well. Okay, so that's that done. It says basically do not edit the original picture. The original picture was I think this picture here. So if I double click, so the original picture is still that particular size. Okay, we've only changed it in the web authoring software. Okay, set an attribute for this image to display the text mantra image if the image is not available. So let me just click on that one instead. So basically we want to include alternative text. So if the picture doesn't load up, then it's going to display the text. So if we go right click again, picture properties, and for alternative text, if I type in manta image, so what this basically means is if this picture doesn't load up, this text will be displayed instead. On a newer papers, you're expected when you're inserting a picture, you include alternative text. Okay, if I go back to the code view, you can see we have an extra piece of code for the alternative text. Okay, so that's that question done. Right, so question 6, in the text that ends happy or holiday company or by clicking here. So let me just find that text here. Yeah, so here, so the text holiday company or by clicking here. What do we need to do? Let me read the question again. In the text that ends holiday company or by clicking here, make only the words clicking here a hyperlink. So basically only the words clicking here. So if you highlight clicking here, a hyperlink to open this web page here. So let me copy this address in a new window called _manta. So if I highlight click in here, if I right click, select hyperlink. If I type in a full address, to open onto a new window, you click on target frame, new window, and basically it's asking you to call it a new window called _manta. So I can just type that out, it doesn't take too long. So _manta, press OK, press OK. So you can see it's become a hyperlink, it's been underlined. If I save, and then go to my browser, we can check to see if the hyperlink is working. So only when the mouse goes over clicking here, it's going to open up this new page. It has opened up the page, but I don't think the page exists anymore. But it's fine as long as if you highlight the code, the address is in the design, so the address hyperlink appears in the code. The target also appears in the code. That's the main thing that matters at this particular point. Right, so that's question 6 done. Let me highlight. So question 7, in the text that starts email us for details. So let me find that first. Yep, so text that starts email us for details. Make only the word email a hyperlink. Okay, sorry, let me just read that question again. So in a text that starts email us for details of our manta, make only the word email, so it's just email. Okay, so let me highlight email. Whoops. It's going to be hyperlink, so let me click on hyperlink first of all. To send an email message to this address. We're not going to have a subject line. Okay, so if you click on email address, and if you copy the address in, okay, automatically when you copy the address in, mail to appears. So let's say, for example, if I was typing from scratch, mail to would automatically appear : So let's just type in the address. There is no subject line, so you don't need to include anything here. So again, if you go in a browser, so if I go to my browser, I don't have Outlook installed, but if I was to click here, it would take me to my email client. I don't have one installed, so nothing's going to load up. But that's fine, as long as if you go to the code, if you highlight the text email, and if you go to the code, you can see the email link here, mail to, then a particular email address here. Okay, so that's that part done. In the same paragraph, make only the text click on this link. Okay, so in the same paragraph, email us for details. Yeah, click on this link, that's what we need. Then we just read the question. A hyperlink to send an email message to. So it's going to be another hyperlink to send an email message. So again, we can hyperlink. We can stay on email address to send an email message to. It's going to be the same address actually. So let me just copy the address again. So we can type in or paste the email address. Obviously, you'd have to type it in. But on this occasion, we have to include the subject line, donation by, and then followed by your name and candidate number. So donation by YAHMAD, and then my candidate number 1234. So if you did have an email client installed on your computer, it would open up Outlook. It would have this address in the address bar, and then this line in the subject bar. Let's press OK. Again, you can check the code to see if the email link has appeared. Yep, so we've got an email address as well as the subject line. So to include a subject line, you should also see question mark subject equal. Right, so that part is done. Okay, so now what we need to do is place a copy of the HTML source into your evidence document. So I've got my evidence here, so question 9, HTML. And what it says is place a copy. So when it says copy, you do a copy and paste of the HTML. If it said print screen, then obviously it would be a print screen. So to take a copy, you go to the code, and you basically, let's go all the way to the top. You want to copy the code from the first line to the bottom line. Copy and paste. It doesn't matter how many pages it comes on. It doesn't really matter about the spacing. Obviously, in the HTML, we can see lots of different things. Like a style sheet has been attached. The alternative text for the picture that we've done previously. The size of the picture. Okay. If you come down, the 2 email links which we've done, and the external link which we've done as well. Okay, so we've done that. Save your web page. Open this web page in the web browser and place a screenshot of this web page into your evidence document. So now we have to take a screenshot. So what am I doing? Here we go. Let's change it back to design. Let's go to the browser window. Okay, images, yeah, that's fine. Close down any other pages that we have open. Let me take a print screen. And this was for question 10. So if we go to my page, so 10, browser, print screen. Okay. What you can do, you can crop some parts off. So I just crop that. It's really important we include the address bar, so we don't crop off the address bar. And then let's resize. So obviously it's really important we include the address bar. This shows the web page is in the browser. Okay. And then there was another evidence which you have to place. So number 11 will be the style sheet. Okay, so I just saw that a minute ago. So the next piece of evidence will be place a copy of your style sheet into your evidence document. So obviously when it says place a copy, that means to copy and paste literally. So if you go to your style sheet, you want to copy all of it into your evidence document. And we can just paste it in. Okay, that's it. We're done. Looks like we're finished. So place a copy, and that's the end of the website section. Obviously, then there's a spreadsheet part in paper 3. So the main part of this paper was to create the style sheet, okay? And we also had to create tags for table properties. So remember, if there's anything referring to internal grid lines, you have to create a TD tag. And for the internal grid lines, normally you have to identify the size of the or the thickness of the internal grid lines, the color, and whether the border type is solid or not. Okay. Just before I finish, I just want to show you one more thing. So if we go to here, if I go to table, and let's say you find out there's a mistake and you want to change it. So if you go to modify style, I want to show you something. So if we go to table, and let's say for example you forgot to do collapse. If I press apply, you'll see when you don't do collapse, you have two lines on the table. Okay, so I'll just move this. If you do collapse the border, you see the lines collapse into one line. So if you do forget to do something doesn't look right, you can always come back here and you can change the formatting of any of these tags here. Okay, so we've come to the end of this video. Please like and share this video. Please show your support to the channel and please subscribe below. Thanks again for your time. Again, I will be making more videos using Microsoft Expression Web. So this is a free software. It's easy to use. It's probably easier to use than Dreamweaver.